Reserve. The root of all our evil, it begins with the Federal Reserve. Hey, yeah, well, let's go back in time when everybody was so proud of a man.
I'm Tommy Salmons. This is year 0. Today, Stacy4Truth is on the podcast. We discuss all kinds of nonsense, including constitutional law, which is the biggest nonsense of it all. So, get ready for a really not in-depth, broad conversation with Stacy4Truth. But first, RyanBunting.com. All your graphic design needs. Go to RyanBunting.com. Ryan Bunting is a great libertarian and a great anarcho-capitalist. He made my podcast logo and Pete Quinones' podcast logo for Free Man Beyond the Wall. So go to RyanBunting.com for all of your graphic design needs and buy his book. Thank you, Tom Burton, for the music. Everybody seems to love the music. Thank you, Tom Burton. Everybody loves the music. Enjoy the show. This was a lot of fun. All right. I am here with Miss Stacy4Truth. How are you doing, Miss Stacy?
I am great, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited. I have a friend of mine here in Texas who comes on my show a lot, who's an attorney, and then I've had Legal Man on, and so you're the third attorney I've had, but I love talking to attorneys because I always learn something. Even
so
if
you actually care about constitutional law?
I do. Are
you like a libertarian who cares about constitutional law?
No.
Wait, are you libertarian or an anarchist?
I'm an agorist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm more anarchist, honestly.
But anarchists aren't supposed to give a shit about constitutional law.
I do, because it's what measures everything at this point in time.
Yeah.
Like if it didn't have any practical sensibility, which is why I'm an agorist, is because the practicality of it. So if there was no practical solution or practical use of constitutional law, I wouldn't give a shit. But the fact of the matter is, so many people still depend on the Constitution and want to refer to the Constitution, that it is useful to talk about these things.
Yeah. And I have gotten so many cases dismissed because of like my motions to suppress that I've written, because I do pay attention to constitutional law. I do read all of the Supreme Court case law precedent, and I do read, like even the Ohio case law precedent, because like the states, they set the federal Constitution is a floor, not a ceiling. So the states can give more rights to their citizens than the federal Constitution does. So it's always good to check both like federal case law precedent as well as state case law precedent. And I do, and I've gotten a lot of cases dismissed. And I think that if more public defenders did that, which would like require them to work more hours, which of course they would want to be paid more money, because public defenders really don't get paid shit. And so most of them are like lazy shit-tards, to be honest. But I do think that, like the point that the anarchists make, where they're like, what the fuck good is a constitution if it's not enforced? I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. Like, attorneys need to make sure that when there is an issue and when the police have violated your client's 4th, 5th, 6th Amendment rights, that you fucking file that motion to suppress and you fight to get that case dismissed. Because if you don't, then you're just allowing the corruption to continue.
Right. Yeah. The problem, the real issue comes about whenever you're looking at it. Okay, so let me frame this a different way, because it was always a question I had. In my mind, it was the federal Constitution was put into place to limit the federal government with like kind of an exemption for the states to act as they please. And it wasn't until the 14th Amendment was actually installed and interpreted poorly to incorporate the state government. So the states have their own constitutions and the federal government has its own constitution. And so to me, it always appeared, and the way it had always been explained to me, is the federal constitution was put in place to limit the federal government. The state constitutions were there to limit the state governments. That the federal constitution in its originality never had anything to do with the states. And it wasn't until the 14th Amendment that it was starting to be interpreted as having to do anything with the states.
That's correct. The 14th Amendment actually made it so that the Bill of Rights were applied to the state governments as well. So the Bill of Rights not only limited the federal government, but they also limited the state governments at that point. And the state governments had not been limited until then. And I don't know what year it was that the 14th Amendment was passed, but yeah, that's correct. But the federal Constitution, and I'll say it one more time, it provides a floor, not a ceiling. So the state constitutions, like every state has its own constitution. The state constitutions can give more rights to their citizens than the federal constitution does. But if they're like, say there's, I live in Ohio. So say there's like an Ohio state, like a Supreme Court of Ohio decision that like it says something that's the opposite of federal case law.
Right.
Well, that's not going to work because the federal case law trumps that. I said Trump. But yeah, I think that the 14th Amendment was a damn good thing. And, you know, whether we want to admit it or not, we have a lot more civil liberties here than like China, than Canada. Like I saw videos of like, you know, like we have the Fourth Amendment. Like you can't just go into someone's home and drag them out because they're not vaccinated or whatever. I don't remember what kind of video I saw, but there's
that
like
was in
going on.
That was in Canada. Yeah.
Canada, yeah. I thought it was, yeah. And so we really shouldn't take that for granted that we have that, and we should look at that situation in Canada and be like, you know what? It's really good that that's not happening here yet. And Tommy, here's the thing. This is what I'm afraid of, okay? I think, and I'm not like a major expert on international law and stuff like that. You know, I've just done like criminal, felony, like I've done like everything from like drug possession cases up to like murder. Mm-hmm. But I haven't done anything like international or anything like that. But I do think that I'm afraid that the Constitution of the United States protects us from our own government, not from the world government. So the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, if they start saying, you know, go into people's homes and pull out the people who are unvaccinated, and that's an order that's coming from the world government, I don't think that the US Constitution is going to protect us from that.
That's why
And
we have
that's
guns.
what I'm afraid of.
That's why we have guns.
Yes, that is.
I mean, seriously, okay. So I want to cover a couple of things you just said in there. Okay. The first thing is I don't compare the United States government to any other government in the world. And the reason I don't is because I was promised freedom and nobody else in the world was. And that's why I hold the US government to such high standards. It's like, you promised me freedom. Like my entire life, I've been told this is the land of the free.
The land of the free, exactly.
So I want my fucking freedom, right? And so I just refuse to compare it. Like a lot of people, I've heard Michael Malice do it, and fine, like do what you want to do on as far as that goes. But I will not compare the U.S. government to another country because I've been promised freedom my entire life. So I just want my freedom. That's it. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to be fucked with. I ain't trying to fuck with nobody else. I'm just trying to do my shit, get through my life, go on about my business. If it weren't for the intrusion upon my life, I wouldn't even be podcasting. I would have no interest in it. This is all about all I do is all about self-defense and trying to say, hey, people, you need to wake up and defend yourselves against these intrusions upon your life. So that's why I don't compare it with any other country's government. Some people have told me, well, that's an immature way of looking at it. I say, well, that's fine, but I was promised freedom. Like, I mean,
it makes sense when you explain it like that.
Yeah, it's just the way my mind works. It's like, nobody else expected the freedom. I did. You know, I was raised in a country that told me I was going to be free.
Yeah,
people in North Korea weren't told they were going to be free. People in China weren't told they were going to be free. Like I was told this is the land of the free. So leave me alone and let me be free.
Like people in China know that there are facial recognition cameras everywhere and that there's like a credit score system. And I think that the goal of our government, if it has not already been achieved, is to basically achieve the same amount of control that the CCP has in China. That's what all of this is about. It's about controlling us.
Right.
And I don't know what's worse. I don't know if it's worse to grow up believing that you have these rights and these freedoms when you really don't. And really, the NSA and the CIA and the FBI are spying on all of us all the time. Or to just know the truth. Like the people in China know that their every move is being tracked. So I don't know, Tommy, what do you think? What would you prefer?
Man, I don't know. You don't have to wake up the people in China. They already know, like you said.
Right. I have friends in China. Like I still talk to them sometimes on WeChat.
You ever hear Michael Malice talk about the Soviet Union and the way the citizens of the Soviet Union like viewed news, and they would just laugh at the headlines because they knew it was all bullshit. They already knew. Yeah. And
that's how.
So it's almost more conniving and more. It's very much more deceitful the way that the U.S. is going about it than the way that China is going about it, because they're just in your face. And everybody there already knows, like, this is the situation, right?
Right.
Whereas here in the U.S., how many people do you talk to on a daily basis that have no clue? They're like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I mean, you can talk to them about something that is purely, like, evidentiary that you can prove to them, like MK Ultra or something like that, and they will deny it. They will say that never fucking happened, and they'll call you a conspiracy theorist. And you're like, no, I can give you the CIA documents that admit it.
Yes.
And they will never buy it.
No,
they
but you know
won't.
what? Then this is what they said. This is what my soon-to-be ex-husband says. He says, well, that doesn't mean that they're still doing it.
Well, it doesn't mean they stopped.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. Like, can we think of any era throughout history when our government has told us the truth? What did they ever tell us the truth about?
Well, no, I would just like somebody like that. I wouldn't even talk to him on that level. I'd be like, look,
he's a lawyer. Like,
yeah, but
I expect.
Yeah, well, I don't expect much out of lawyers.
I mean, I don't either, but I thought I had one of the smart ones.
I expect them to become. I expect most lawyers to try to become politicians at some point in time.
Oh Lord, I would be the worst politician.
Nah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna after
Tommy, you don't understand.
After Angela for chair, we're gonna go Stacy for chair.
No, you really don't understand. You really don't understand. Like, you know how I did that video with Pete on Seth Rich? And it was just...
I never understood why people got so upset about that.
Okay, I will tell you everything you ever wanted to know, ever would
I thought it was interesting. I was just like, that's interesting.
So, but the thing is that in that video, all we did was cover like a few portions of the Seth Rich FBI file, which had finally been released after like a year of Ty Clevenger requesting it, and the FBI saying like, you know, no, we don't have Seth Rich's computer. You know, they finally admitted that they had it, and then you finally get to see like the 10th of that FBI file that wasn't redacted.
Right.
And so that's all. Like, all we did was like cover.
That's what I'm saying. I found it interesting. I didn't see an issue with what you were doing.
And you know what Pete said to me just the other day? He was like, I have never faced that kind of backlash from any video that I've ever done before.
Really?
Yeah, really. We are not allowed to discuss Seth Rich. It is not allowed. It's censored, it's silenced. You get threatened. Like, these people threatened my law degree because the lawyers who are working on this, like Ty Clevenger and Stephen Biss, and they say that like Stephen Biss is a terrible lawyer. Like, that's at least the rumor or whatever. And there are like a few other lawyers who are basically defending the people who made statements about Seth Rich. Like, I mean, I could get into it more like in further detail, like if you're interested at another time, because it's a long story. But yeah, we are not allowed to discuss Seth Rich. That's not allowed. We're not allowed to talk about it. We're not allowed to know about it. We're not allowed to tell anyone else about what happened.
That makes me want to talk about Seth Rich.
Yeah, me too. And so, and I'm not going to stop. And you know what? Like, it's not just Seth Rich. Like, there's also the Citizens United case. I mean, you're not like a progressive, but all of the progressives and like everybody thinks that Citizens United case was the reason why there is dark money in politics today.
Yeah, it never existed before.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you know what's really ironic, and I'll try to like be brief about this, but this is what's really ironic, is that the Citizens United case, the issue of the Citizens United case was whether Hillary the movie, which was a documentary,
Was
could
that
be
the movie that was produced by what's his
by
name?
Citizens United.
Oh, it was produced by Citizens United.
Hmm.
That's not the one that was Roger Stone. That's not the Roger Stone movie.
That's not that one.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
No. So no, this. I think this was before that.
Oh, okay.
I think.
I don't think I ever saw it then.
Yeah, because nobody has seen it because it's been censored. So here's the thing. The issue of Citizens United, the Supreme Court of the United States case, was whether Hillary the movie could be provided to the public via pay-per-view free of charge. And the court said, yes, it can be provided to the public free of charge. And then it went on like a corporation is a person and a corporation has free speech rights, whatever. So like, it was kind of weird the way that they framed the holding.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing. If you watch Hillary the movie and you watch like between the 30-minute to 40-minute-ish time marker, you will see evidence of Hillary Clinton communicating with one of the organizers of one of her super PACs, which is what people think that the holding of Citizens United allowed politicians to do.
Right.
So she was doing it already. There was already dark money in politics, and there's evidence of that dark money in politics before the Citizens United case came about. And now it's just really interesting to me that
what year was that?
Nobody has seen this. It was, hold on.
That case, I'm asking, not the
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to, let me just pull it up.
The only reason I'm asking is because I remember in the Obama administration that there was a big deal being made about Nancy Pelosi and her and insider trading and how they had made it illegal in the Bush administration. It had become illegal for Congress to participate in insider trading, and then Nancy Pelosi and Obama reversed the decision early in the Obama administration, and she ended up making millions like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Based upon that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just curious if this was around the same time frame.
So this was decided on January 21st, 2010.
Okay.
It was wait, let me see what the date of. It says granted November. Okay. Granted, I think that means that the court granted the petition for certiorari in 2008 and then argued in 2009, decided in 2010. So it was like right around the time of the 2008 election.
Right. So it was during this whole period when Nancy Pelosi was doing this whole thing with insider trading too.
I don't know. I don't
like
know
to
about
see
the Pelosi thing. I know.
I would like to know. I would like to dig in and see if they were related in any way, shape, or form, because that just sounds like so suspicious. All this stuff happening right at the beginning of the Obama administration, just reversing all these decisions.
I can look into that. I'll let you know. I'll look into that and I'll let you know. I don't know. I haven't read that case and I don't know it.
It wasn't a case. I don't think it ever went to court. It was just a bill that it was passed during the Bush administration that Obama almost like in like 2009 or something, Obama had reversed it. Like it had gotten reversed. It had gone through Congress and passed, and then it went back through Congress. And no. Bush passed it.
Okay.
But then it went back through Congress in reverse and reversed the entire decision. So it was like it was right after Martha Stewart got arrested, right? And it started
Yeah.
coming out that Congress could perform insider trading. And so the whole controversy came up like, well, if we can't do it, why can you do it? So they passed the law saying, okay, Congress can't do it anymore. And then
Right.
as soon as Obama took office, they passed the law reversing the original.
But you know, like a lot of Congress members, I don't remember which ones, but like before the market crashed, before the whole COVID scare,
Oh yeah,
they
it's like
sold their stocks.
something like 20, it's 20 of them. 20 CEOs.
Yeah.
I think it was 20 CEOs like got
They-
out. Like there was
And they,
like,
like,
we're out.
yeah, they sold. They were like, peace the fuck out. And so I'm sure that didn't help the market. You know, that just made it even further.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Well, and that was kind of what we were going to talk about, and you know constitutional law, so I kind of wanted to talk to you about HIPAA a little bit, because people I know are being told by their employers that they have to get vaccinated, and they're like, we're not doing it. And just on background, I know a lot of people that have suffered injuries because of vaccines. I have friends that know people that have died because of this vaccine. So we're looking at this and saying, no, it's not going to happen. And this was a big decision for me. I mean, I already wanted to come home and be local and be home with Beatrix, you know, at the end of every day. I was tired of being gone all the time, being an over the road truck driver. But whenever the whole vaccine thing, I was like, we got to figure this out quick, because I don't want to be in this situation where these people are trying to fucking inject me with some shit that I have no idea what it is, you know?
Right.
So I wanted to get it local. So and with a company I knew wouldn't be forcing me to do things like that. So when you look at the HIPAA law and you look at these companies that are quote unquote requiring the vaccines, like, do these people that don't want to take the vaccines, do they have any legal argument?
Okay. So this is not my forte.
Yes, ma'am.
However, I'll tell you what I think. So first of all, I do know a lawyer, a very well-known lawyer slash former politician who is a professor at Nova, which is it's a private university in Florida, and he teaches law school. It's Nova Law School. He's a law school professor.
Right.
And that university did mandate that everyone, students, professors, staff, janitors, everyone be vaccinated before the fall term starts, which is coming up. And I do know that, like, if they really follow through with this, he's going to file a lawsuit.
Do you want to say hi?
And I'm going to see like how I can help, because I don't really give a fuck about how the government tries to twist this shit, because that's not okay.
Right.
That's just not okay. So, I mean, with the HIPAA laws, the way that they're written, I don't really see how there's any fucking way for the government to say you have to be vaccinated or else you can't, or else you lose your job.
Well, what if it's the company and not the government, though? And you and I
that
both
is
have
a really good point.
you and I have our own opinions on what a private company is, bro. But
Yeah.
like just in the modern mimetic and the way things are looking, if it is what is considered to be a private company.
No, that's a really good point, because this is a private university, and there is a distinction between public and private.
Right.
And you're absolutely right, because the fact that it's a private university is not going to help his case. If this were a public university, I would be like yelling right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm really curious about this because, over the last year, and I have a lot of sympathy for a lot of these people. They've watched their businesses get shut down. They've watched their jobs disappear, and then they're finally able to get back to work. And you have people telling them, "Well, you have to do this to continue." And I've talked a lot about ESG. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there is this credit score that is taking place in the United States that people aren't paying attention to, and they're threatening that people's banking. They're threatening people's ability to survive. And if the average person has their banking threatened, are no longer capable of receiving loans because of personal health decisions, that seems like a real violation of any civil liberties. And I know you said earlier that, our country has some of the best civil liberties in the world, but I don't see how, when you see people like Alex Jones or Glenn Beck or even Donald Trump, or there was a case of one of the people at the Capitol on January 6th, and Bank of America was tracking people down and who was making purchases in the area and turning over, information of who was making purchases in the area to FBI. So those civil liberties are being violated, and they're being violated by the corporations. It's kind of like the United States government has found a back door to civil liberties and said, "Oh, okay, well, we can't violate them, but it's a private company, bro. They can do what they want."
Yeah. And really, the problem is that people don't know what their civil liberties are. That's like one of the problems, because, okay, so the whole private company, bro, thing, did you know that comes from like the Cato Institute? So the Cato Institute,
surprised.
Right? Right. What a shock. So Cato is in bed with the Anti-Defamation League.
Mm-hmm.
And the Anti-Defamation League is like, bullying is defamation, and therefore unprotected speech, and therefore we need to stop the bullying because it's somehow defamation, because defamation is one of the 5 areas of unprotected speech. Okay, so that's where that propaganda comes from. Now, it's a private company, bro. Okay, so yes, but Tommy, did you know that a private company can also be a government actor for purposes of the First Amendment analysis?
Yeah.
Right, and a lot of people don't know that. So it's a private company, bro.
Well,
guess what, fucking dipshit? It's also a government actor.
Yeah, if you look up the definition of corporation, it identifies municipalities as corporations.
Oh, hold on a second. I left out. I'm sorry. I'm drinking. So I'm like,
No,
left
that's okay.
out.
We're all drinking.
Like the most important, the reason why. Sorry. Okay. The reason why.
You're getting low too. I think you need a refill.
I know. I know. Let me see if I can get through this before I get more wasted.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, we can pause and just pick back up.
no, wait. Let me get this. Let me get this out. This is really important. This is like the crux of, like, I just said the conclusion without the premise or whatever. Okay, this is the thing. When the government is in bed with a private corporation and they're working together and they're benefiting from the other, like there's like a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Woo, like this, symbiotic. They're helping each other. That's when a private company becomes a government actor for purposes of the First Amendment analysis.
Mm.
Okay, now let's push pause. Let me get more wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Go for it.
Totally.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, we're back. Better than ever, bitches.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Clink.
I'm drinking my Lone Star. That's my thing.
I'm finishing my bottle of wine.
Finish that shit.
I was gonna quit
I'm finishing
drinking.
a 12-pack. I'm like, damn, I'm already drinking a 12-pack today. I've gotten a lot done today for drinking a 12-pack. Jesus.
I mean, yeah, like the thing is, like, I was gonna quit drinking, but then I was like, fuck that. Like, I'm not a fucking quitter. I'm not. Like, go big or go home.
Right. Yeah. No, I finally talked my mom into starting drinking. I'm not about to quit yet.
Right? No, don't be a quitter.
But
Quitters are lame.
so I want to cover some of that, like what you were just saying. So we're talking about the symbiotic relationship between government and corporations or private companies. But that's what I was alluding to. If you look up the definition of corporation, if you just go DuckDuckGo it, corporation definition. I mean, one of the things it tells you, a municipality is a corporation. And so you're like, no, corporation is not a synonym for private. That's not what it means. That is not within the definition that private has anything to do with it. And when you start looking into the amount of money that is poured into these corporations that are assumed to be private, you know, and just use Facebook or Google as an example. I mean, I won't even focus on them because so many others get corporate welfare.
Right.
You look at the amount of money, you're like, they're not private. They're getting paid by tax dollars. This
Right.
isn't private.
Right. And that's the distinction.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a really good point that you made, that like a municipality is incorporated.
Right.
That's a really good fucking point.
Yeah. And whenever I remember getting in a conversation with somebody and they were like, it's a corporation, dude, look it up. And so I looked up the definition just to be a smart ass. And I was like, wait a second. This isn't synonymous with private. Like, what the fuck?
Isn't it amazing what happens when like you look stuff up?
Yeah.
Like the number, like the people who don't do their own fact checking, I swear it's like 99% of the population that like, it's like, well, I heard it on NPR. And I'm like, so?
Yeah.
Like, so? Who cares? NPR is what? God? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw earlier today that Quincy got into an argument with somebody. And this person was like talking shit about truck driver salaries and how that truck drivers make average 6 figures a year when teachers only average like $50,000. And I was like,
I was a teacher.
I was like, number one, you've never been a fucking truck driver. I was like, you don't know what a fucking truck driver makes. And I looked up, even Googling it, I looked it up. And it didn't even, the first thing it popped up was the average truck driver earns $66,000 a year. I'm like, where's the 6 figures in that? Like, but I was just like, yeah, I would like to see this guy going down an 8% grade with 78,000 pounds on his back. Like he would die in the first 2 miles. He would just shit himself to death.
Totally. And I would like to add on to that. I was a teacher. Okay. I was a Title I public school teacher for 7 years. And okay, so I really don't like teachers at all. Mm-hmm. Because first of all, they are catty, know-it-all bitches, including the male teachers. Okay. All teachers. They're catty, know-it-all, drama queen bitches, including the men. And secondly, they are not very smart. I've seen so many grammatical errors that it just makes me want to vomit. And third, I was a teacher. Like, I thought that my salary was fine. I was a public defender. After that, I got paid about the same as a public defender that I had been getting paid as a teacher after getting a law degree. Mm-hmm. So I don't really see the problem with teacher salaries.
Right.
I really don't. I think and sorry, no offense to teachers, but it's really fucking easy to get a teaching degree.
Actually, a lot of offense to teachers, because fuck y'all.
Okay, so fuck everyone. I'll offend everyone. Are you starting to see why I could never be a politician?
No, I would vote for you.
Are you insane? Everyone
Probably,
would. Everyone hates me.
Nobody has ever gotten me out of my chair to go fucking vote. I would vote for you.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, thanks, I think, but no way. Never, ever, ever. Because I hate people. And when I hate people, I just prefer to I will just, and I don't even want to talk shit about people behind their backs. I will talk shit to their face. Mm. And yeah, I don't even care. If teachers are watching this, guess what? Fuck you. You don't need to be paid more. Public defenders need to be paid more. And for you to go bitching about truck drivers is just more know-it-all, catty, bitchy shit. So shut the fuck up.
Well, if you do need to get paid more, give me a number. Don't just
right.
We need to be paid more. Oh, okay. What?
How
what's
much?
More? For what? What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, I look at teachers as the government's solution to replacing parents in the home. That's how I look at teachers. And so it's very hard for me to say that a teacher needs to make more. I think there should be less public school teachers, honestly, because I think there should be less people willing
to send their kids to public school.
I think there should be less people willing to substitute parents. I don't like the amount of people willing to send their kids to school. Okay, fine. We can have that conversation. I can't do anything about that. What I have a real problem with are those people that have this mindset that they feel like they are qualified to substitute parenting. And that's what I have an issue with. I'm like, how do you even have that mindset? Right. And so it's a real drag. When you have a parent teachers meeting or something like that, the teacher is always telling the parent how they could better parent to make the child more acceptable at school. You never have a teacher asking the parent, okay, why does your child act this way? What are you teaching this child? What is happening? You don't have the teacher taking the subservient role. You have the teacher taking the aggressive hierarchical role. And to me, that's a serious fucking issue.
It is.
Subconsciously, these people know that they are taking over the job of the parents, and they are telling the parents how to treat the children when the children are at home so that the children act better for them the next day. And that's a fucking issue.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And, even though there are some parents who could really use some help, you can't act you can't
replace
a parent. Well, and you can't speak to a child's parent with like such an air of superiority, like a lot of teachers do, because that's not how you work together with the parent to help the child.
Right. Exactly.
It's supposed to be about the child.
Right.
So yeah, you can't do it that way. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard like I think there was one time in 7 years when I had a parent complain about me. One time. And that parent's child ended up being like classified as I don't know what it's called, SLD or whatever it was.
ADHD or
maybe, I mean, something like that. I have ADHD, but it was like a child who had some kind of issue that was like blocking him from learning. And so that was one time. And I taught for 7 years, and that was the only problem that I ever had with a parent complaining about me. Like
right.
Parents didn't complain about me to me. They didn't complain about me to my bosses. There was that one time. And it was because the child wasn't.
You had a learning disability of some sort. Yeah.
Right. I'm so drunk. Why couldn't I just think of the words learning disability?
Well, you said LD, so I got the point.
Right. I think I said SLD, like slow learning disability. I don't know, because the words keep changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I have a handicapped brother, so like they had different words back when he was in school, and now they're always changing.
Yeah.
Anyway, the child had some kind of learning disability, but that's because I don't ever like try to look down on anyone, whether it be like parents or criminal, clients who've been accused of a crime, or, jurors. Just talk to people. Don't talk at them. Talk to them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty much like how to win friends and
influence people.
Yeah, that's it.
But I never, one of the things I got in the habit of years ago was never saying I'm talking to you. Is I say I talk with you.
Right.
Talking with you. Because I'm not, who am I? I'm not an authority. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's the way I approach like all my conversations is I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you.
Yeah. Like we're having together. A conversation.
Exactly.
Like there's nobody who's in charge. Here.
Exactly. Well, like what's to make me better than you? Like, I mean,
exactly.
Whatever. Just because I have a show that I started, 3 years ago on a whim, because I thought, well, maybe I have something good to say.
Yeah, you have a lot of good shit to say. Seriously.
So, yeah, but you made me think of something. It was something that struck me the other day. I was at work, and I've told everybody I started a new job, and I'm working locally now. So I'm working for a retail company, and one of the employees is mentally retarded in some way. I don't know what's wrong with him, so I'm just going to stick with mentally retarded. And his mom was there, and his mom came up to me and she goes, "You're the new driver." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I thought he was describing you to me, and I didn't know who he was talking about. I thought he was talking about somebody else." Mm-hmm. And he was like, no. And he's shaking his head and waving her off like, don't listen to my mom, kind of like a young teenager would, right? But right. One of the things I was watching about this guy is he is so happy to just be productive and just have something to do and feel like he's part of a team, part of something. And I was like, that's pretty fucking cool. That's cool to work for a company that's willing to like give this kid a chance, even if it's only 6 hours a week, showing customers where a product is or whatever. I mean, like whatever. He has a purpose now.
Yeah.
And so many people are missing purpose. And I think that's what makes me a little bit different on my podcasting is the podcasting never became my purpose. It was always just something I did. Like my purpose was always great, like bigger. It was always like creating a homestead or, you know, providing for my family, doing this. I always had this larger purpose. And the podcast alone was never my purpose. It was just something I did because I felt inclined to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember you've been talking a lot lately about the libertarian podcasters. So I wanted to kind of talk to you about that a little bit. And I felt like that was a very gentle way to like intro into that subject.
So I'm like partly trolling. Yeah, ask away.
Was that not like the slickest intro into any subject ever?
No, that was you are slick, Tommy boy. Tommy, you're slick. And before you like ask me about my like I've been accused of being a man hater now.
Oh, Jesus.
So before we get into that, I really do want to have you on my show to talk about the homesteading thing because I am so into self-sufficiency. Like anything that we can do to be self-reliant and not have to deal with the government. You know, like I don't know if you were freezing in Texas when Ted Cruz went to Mexico, but
I wish he would have never came back.
Right?
That was my only comment about it. I was like, why did he ever come back? Like,
right.
leave him there.
I hear ya.
Like everybody was complaining about him going to Mexico and then coming back. And I was like, yeah, he shouldn't have come back.
I really appreciate like one thing about Ted Cruz, one thing I appreciate. And that was like that Senate hearing when he questioned Zuckerberg and who's the Twitter guy?
Oh, yeah.
Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey, yeah.
He questioned, I don't know if he questioned one or the other or both, but I really fucking loved that. But other than that, yeah, he's, you know, I could take him or leave him.
I mean, I was a big Cruz fan in 2016 when he was running for president against Trump. So, like, I'm not perfect.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I would have chosen Cruz over Trump.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is,
I also voted for Trump in 2020.
Whatever. Nobody's perfect. But I didn't vote, so like I don't have any room to say anything. Like I
mean, you knew your vote wasn't going to count.
I'm in Texas. I knew who was going to win in Texas. I was just like, all right, whatever.
Right. I hear you.
So, but all right. No, like I did want to talk to you about this a little bit because I think you're onto something. I think you're making a good point. I was trying to think like who are the big female voices in libertarianism, and I don't even know if they're big because to me, because I've known who they were for quite a few years and have stumbled upon their work, or if they're big to me because they're actually making some kind of impact. But all I could think of really was Carrie Wedler, and
I love her,
and Sherry Voluntary. And Sherry's not doing a show right now, and I'm great friends with Sherry. I love Sherry to death. Like, so like we're really close friends. I consider her one of my best friends. And
I would like to meet her. I don't know who that is. I would like to meet her.
Oh, she's excellent. Actually, Beatrix and I will be talking to her on Sunday for the podcast that's behind a paywall.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make like, I'm going to have to pay for that. I got to break through that paywall. I got to find
We'll figure
Tommy and BB on the wall.
Yeah.
I got to get there.
Yeah, it's called I done told you is what it's called.
I
But
done told you.
yeah, and that's
I like that.
that story. We're gonna eventually have to tell that story of how we came up with the name for the podcast because that's funny. But but yeah, so like I was like those are the two names that really popped into my head as far as female like podcasters or influencers that are on the libertarian spectrum was Sherry and Carrie, and I couldn't think of a lot of other women. And I don't know if that's because there's not a lot of other women. I mean, there's you, obviously, but I'm trying to think of like bigger name shows. You know what I'm saying?
What about Karen Ann Harlow's?
Does she have her own show?
Yes.
Oh, see, I
It's
didn't know
called
that.
it's called The Flame of Liberty.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and she's the one who just fucking saved the Libertarian Party from Nick Sarwark's psychopathic influence.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no,
that's
and
a
see,
story that should be covered.
yeah, I do have friends that are well, I mean, one of my good friends is the communications director in New Hampshire. So I knew a lot about what was going on, you know.
Wait, who is the communications director?
Eric
Eric?
Sawyer? Yeah.
Oh, that's my friend too.
Yeah. I love Eric. Yeah.
I love him. I love his wife. I love his kids. They're so cute. Did you know
Yeah.
that Kim has COVID?
Really?
Yeah, and their little girl Rayla is sick too now.
Oh no. I didn't know that. I haven't talked to him in a few days, so
So send him like thoughts and prayers. And Pete won't say so, but I'm pretty sure Pete has COVID too. I think he's finally like recovering.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I heard him say something about it the other day. You know, I sent him a message. I shot him a message and said, "Hey man, feel better." And he's like, "Thanks, man." So yeah. Yeah.
But Eric Sawyer is one of my like favorite, because I was such a big Jacob Hornberger fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like so excited when I got to interview Jacob Hornberger because I asked like 4 times at least.
Oh my God. My wife was the one who was checking the emails. I have to ask her why it took so long.
Yeah. I just like, I love him. And actually that interview is supposed to be on his futurefreedomfoundation.org, but I don't know when. I think it's supposed to be, but I was just like, I told Eric at PorkFest, I was like, that was the best interview. Like that was my favorite show that I've done so far.
Right.
And like, that's how I met Eric, was because because he controlled Jacob's Twitter account.
Yeah.
And I was just like, who is this really?
Oh, so you weren't emailing, you were going through Twitter?
Yeah. Well, like
okay.
now I have Jacob's email address. I do now, but like before I was just like this, like I was a Tulsi supporter, and then I had already decided that I was gonna be a libertarian. And so like the day after Tulsi suspended her campaign, I joined the Libertarian Party, and I was like, I'm all in for Jacob Hornberger, because I had my eye on him.
Yeah. Well, Beatrix was handling all the emails. That's why I was saying.
Oh.
Yeah,
cool.
she was the administrator for the Hornberger campaign.
Cool. I didn't know that. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's what you get like when you're friends with Scott Horton. Scott Horton calls you and asks you to do things like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, dude, I'll do you a favor. So no, but so she was doing the administration for Hornberger. That's why I was like, well, I'll have to ask her why it took you so long to get an interview. But no, you were going through Twitter. She had nothing to do with Twitter. She was just getting the hang of Twitter when they suspended her for threatening Pete.
Really?
Yeah. She
threatened Pete? Really?
It was a joke. Yeah, it was a joke.
But did she really threaten him?
Well, she said, well, yeah, I mean, I have to give you context because it sounds bad without context, but yeah. All right.
I want to hear about that later. Like me and Pete bonded.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
All right. So she's a giant, like huge Nirvana fan. Like Kurt Cobain would be her husband in her dream world, right? And Pete posted this meme the other day from his alt account with David Spade with a Kurt Cobain quote next to it. And it said Kurt Cobain, but it had David Spade's face. And she said, "I will fucking murder you, you bastard. Take that back."
God, that's great.
So Twitter suspended her.
Oh my God.
And Pete said, "I'm so glad Twitter's like protecting me from radicals like you."
That is so awesome. I will fucking murder you. Oh my God. Jeez. It's too bad the algorithms don't have a sense of humor. Actually, I'm thinking that it's a really good thing that the algorithms don't have a sense of humor, because I'm thinking that with all of this stuff that I want to report about Seth Rich and Hillary the movie and all these things, I think I'm just going to go like Carrie Wedler sarcasm. I'm going to go that route. Because if you are just sarcastic, then people are going to get the information and then you're going to be like, but that's so not true. Yeah. And so you're saying like the algorithm reads like, that's so not true. She's saying she disagrees, right? But you're still getting the information out there. So maybe that's what I need to do.
But okay, so you do have a point with the amount of male voices in libertarianism, but there seems to be a problem with attracting females to libertarianism. So, like, why do you think that is?
Well, I'll tell you that I stopped listening to Dave Smith months ago when he said, roll your shoulders back, stick out your chest, and be a man. And like, who cares if someone makes fun of you or calls you names or whatever? Like, fucking stick out your chest and be a man. And I was just like, you know what? He's clearly not addressing me. Yeah. So since he's not talking to me, I don't think I want to listen anymore.
Right.
And that was months ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't listened to him since then. And if he's our candidate, I might vote for him, because it's really not about the world doesn't revolve around, I'm not a feminist, not in the modern day sense anyways. Right. I know there's first wave, second wave, third wave, whatever. I'm not that, but I don't want to listen to someone who's not talking to me.
Right.
So I do think that, and I also do think that with this takeover thing, and I'm like, fuck yes, take over the Libertarian Party, because these woke shits need to get the fuck out, because this is bullshit, because they are ruining the message with their whole Trump tried to kill people, or Trump killed people on January 6th. Because my soon-to-be ex-husband said to me, and I quote, "Trump killed people." So that's woke bullshit. That's it's like these zombies have infiltrated their minds. And so part of the Libertarian Party, they battle over messaging, and I'm like, please, dear God, I would rather stab myself in the eyeball with a nail repeatedly than talk about messaging, right? I don't want to talk about messaging. I just want to message.
Right.
So, and I also don't want to talk about philosophy. And I know that libertarian philosophy is a really big deal, but guess what? I don't fucking live in utopia. I live in the actual world, the real world, where things are happening outside of libertarian philosophy. And I'm just kind of tired of it. And, you know, with these new people who are challenging Dave Smith, you know, like I'm on Dave Smith's side because I'm like, you guys don't make any sense whatsoever.
Right.
There's no logic here. This, there's no logic. And then there's all of the emotions, you know, Dave, you know, Vin Armani trash talks Dave and he's like, I'm more famous than you. And then Dave Smith goes on Pete's show and he's like, whatever, like I'm actually more famous. And so they're arguing about who's more famous. But then Tommy, women are the drama queens. Women are too emotional. Are you fucking kidding me? Look at Dave and Vin. Look at like, I don't know, that Nick guy was like having a bitch fest back and forth with, I don't even know who, like somebody blocked him and he blocked them back. And I'm just like, really? Because I don't ever block my lady friends.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. I might not always agree with their tactics. Like, I don't really like it when they show their nipples or their ass or whatever. You know, I'm kind of like, personally, I'm a little bit conservative, but it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not gonna block them for that. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, I personally, I'm not going to do that. I'm not gonna like show my boobs or my ass, but whatever, you know, whatever. There's no animosity between the females.
Right.
And the males, you know, like there's all, but women are too emotional.
Yeah.
Women are emotional. And they don't have women on their shows.
Right.
You know, I'm sorry, but Karen Ann Harlos just fucking saved the Libertarian Party from like this tyrannical Machiavellian bullshit. Like, she's the one who fucking saved it. Why isn't anyone having her on their show? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. That's the story. That's what just fucking happened. Karen Ann Harlos just saved the LP from the Machiavellian, tyrannical, Nick Sarwark fueled takeover. They're, you know, we're saying that we're going to take over, but we mean with numbers. No, they tried to take over with like full on corruption, like Hillary Clinton style shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was led by Nick Sarwark. Mm-hmm. And Karen Ann Harlos, you know, and she's not, the thing that makes her so credible in my eyes is that she is very unbiased.
Yeah.
She's not a member of the Mises Caucus. She fucking did that she interviewed all of the witnesses, just like I would pay an investigator thousands of dollars to do. She did that. She interviewed all of the witnesses. She questioned everyone fairly. She then presented the information in like her own video to where like she meticulously laid out every single fact to show like the bullshit that they were doing.
Right.
So she's playing, like, not even playing, okay? She's not even playing. She's, because, you know, libertarians hate the legal system. So obviously no one's gonna like hire a lawyer and take this to court because that's not what libertarians do. So Karen Ann Harlos was like the investigator, the lawyer, the judge. Like, she fucking got to the bottom of the situation. That's my point. She found out what was going on. She presented the information to the party, and then the party decided not to allow that corrupt bullshit. And thank God that she did, because the Sarwarkian takeover failed. And if that takeover in New Hampshire had succeeded, we would have been fucked, because that was like the blueprint for what they were planning to do in other states as well.
Right. Yeah.
So she's the fucking queen right now. You know, it's not me. And as much as I love Angela McArdle, and I do, like, Angela McArdle is just one of my favorite human beings on the planet. And
I've had her
I
on
want
the show.
her.
I love talking to Angela. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for having her on the show. Like, everybody needs to have her
She was
on their
actually
show
supposed to come
all
on
the time.
She was supposed to come on a second time, and she ended up having an allergic reaction, so we have to reschedule, but we're going to get her back on.
Oh, just let me know when she's going to be on again, because I will definitely watch every second of
Yeah.
it.
I love talking to her. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah. And she's smart, and she's amazing, and she would be a really good chair.
Yeah.
She would be fair, and she would be meticulous, and she would be organized, and she would be professional. We really need someone who is professional and ethical. And she is. And, you know, I would do anything for that lady. Like, I love her.
Yeah.
I love her more than I love Karen Ann Harlos. I think she's like even more amazing than Karen Ann. But right now, Karen Ann is the fucking story, and nobody covered it.
Yeah, well, the reason I didn't cover it, and I'll just be honest.
Well, you're an anarchist. You're like,
I just don't want
fuck
anything.
politics.
I don't want anything to do with these people.
Right.
I'm just
No.
and it's nothing personal, because I've heard Karen Ann Harlos on shows. I think I've heard her on Part of the Problem and on Tom Wood's show or something like that. And she seems like a reasonable person and totally sweet, and Eric was praising her for everything that she had been doing, and
she's a fucking badass.
But I don't.
Yes, she is. I've met her in person. I met her in Florida.
Yeah,
she is definitely sweet and wonderful, and she's also a fucking badass. And I interrupted you, and I'm so sorry.
No. Go ahead. You're fine.
No, you go first. You don't want to.
I just don't have any interest in the Libertarian Party.
I know.
And if you look at, like, my friend, like Eric, asked me all the time, when are you going to join the Libertarian Party? And I'm like, dude, like, have you seen the Libertarian Party of Texas fucking
their
Twitter?
tweets? Oh,
yeah. Like, I would have to drive 6 hours from my house to get to Austin for a meeting, to deal with those fucking people. I don't want to drive. I have things I can do at home. I don't want to drive 6 hours to go deal with those fucking people. Like,
no,
I'm sorry.
I don't blame you.
And I have no interest in fucking with them,
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm happy for y'all. Like, all my friends, I have a lot of friends that are involved in state, their state chairs in Delaware. And I know all these people that are in the Mises Caucus that are involved. Like,
you're in the wrong state.
In depth. Well, no, but I like it down here. Yeah.
I would love Texas. I really do. I would have like big hair and everything probably. But no,
Beatrix misses the show Dallas.
Oh. But the Texas tweets, the Texas LP tweets are like, wah.
Yeah, they're horrible. I quote tweeted them the other day, and I said, just when you think this fucking Twitter account can't get any worse.
Right.
It's just...
I mean, I seriously, maybe I'll just block them, because I don't need any more anger than I already have.
Right. Yeah. I offered to buy them Blue Chew one time because their tweets are so impotent. I was like, let's just do something.
Blue Chew. Is that like chewable Viagra?
Yes, it is.
Somebody said Blue Chew the other day, and I didn't respond. So many of you guys' jokes, I really don't get.
It was advertised on Legion of Skanks. That's how a lot of us know.
All right, gotcha. Oh, yeah. I should probably... No, I won't do that right now. No, maybe next time. No, there's something that I'll tell you, like off the record.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe next time.
But yeah, no, so it's like here's what I keep saying to people. Like, I don't care if you go out and you vote one day every 2 years. It's what you're doing with the rest of your time that actually makes a difference. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what are you doing to create your own liberty in the meantime? Are you only sitting around like reading fucking Rothbard and reading philosophy like you said, or and waiting for the next election and so you can preach to people on fucking Twitter or Facebook? Or are you out there actually doing something that makes you more free day in and day out? And
right. Or are you like building a fucking greenhouse? Like, sorry guys, the standard is not the gazebo. The standard is the greenhouse.
The gazebo was
like,
funny though.
Are you okay? So the gazebo jokes I didn't get for the longest time. I've never really gotten jokes.
Well, the gazebo jokes came from a guy who told Nick that he built 900-pound gazebos by himself, and Nick only looked like he weighed 40 pounds, so his threats meant nothing to him. And so everybody turned it into copy pasta and just fucking started fucking with the guy.
Are you talking about like our Nick or Nick the Dick?
Nick Individualist, our Nick.
Okay, yeah. Our Nick.
Yeah.
Our Nick.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Nick Ashley. Nick Ashley.
Yeah. Yeah. That's our Nick.
Yeah.
There's our Nick and there's Nick the Dick.
Nick the Dick. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we took this fucking quote and we turned it into copy pasta and just started fucking with the guy constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's where the gazebo jokes came from.
That's awesome.
And so,
I love gazebos. I actually had a fucking dream the other day. I have a lot of dreams and nightmares. Oh, too much stuff in my brain. So I had this dream. And so this is true that like, I'm thinking of building like a log cabin on my father's property. That's like, not too far down the road. Right. Like he leases it he leases the land to a farmer, but there's like, like there's this place where I could like build a log cabin and have solar panels and have like my own little underground bunker if I wanted to, and all that good stuff.
If I built an underground bunker, I'd be underwater.
I'm worried about that too, because this, like the farmland is in the floodplain.
We're 12 feet below sea level where I live.
Oh yeah, so you can't.
I can't.
You're in the south. You can't. No, but the part of the area is in the floodplain, but the place that's like near the road where I would build the house, I would not build the house. I don't want to fucking build the house. I would contract it out. I would have somebody else build the house. It's not in the floodplain. Anyway, my point is I had this dream where, so the neighbors, like my dad sold part of the property to the people who would be living next door to me. And in my dream, they like built this gazebo, but it was like it was like over their property line.
How much did it weigh?
It was like a gazebo, like a big one. It was a big one.
No, that was part of what made the comment.
Part of the joke. Okay.
Yeah, that was part of what made it so funny is like, who weighs how big who measures how big something is by how much it weighs? Like, who measures how big my house weighs 15 tons? Like, nobody says that.
Right. No, you give like square footage, right? Like you said, your greenhouse is like 20 by 10.
Yeah.
Right?
8 foot tall, 20 by 10. Yeah.
Yeah. This gazebo was probably like maybe about that size, like maybe 15 by 15 or like something like that.
Okay. So it was about 905 pounds.
I have no idea. I mean, I didn't
I'm
dream.
still joking.
In my dream, but women can't be funny, so I can't.
You're so full of shit.
No, women cannot be funny. No, we can't. So, so in my dream, I did not actually try to lift up the gazebo. What happened was there were like two sons of the lady who owned the house, and like the first one was kind of like mean, but he was kind of hot too. Anyway, don't tell Pete I said that.
He quit listening to my show months ago.
Oh, that's good. That's so good. I'm glad. Don't let him listen. And so, yeah, so I'm
gonna name this. I'm gonna title this one "Pete Can't Listen," just so he will.
Or like, don't tell Pete.
Don't tell Pete. There we go.
Yeah. No, but so in this dream, like there was this dickhead, like young guy, like probably 30, like I'm almost 40, and he was like hot and like 30-ish, and he was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And I was like I just gave him the whole, like I did my lawyer bitch thing about how this gazebo was on my property, and I don't remember. I said mean stuff, and then he left. And then the older son came back later, and I don't know. I should write down what happens in my dreams. I don't really remember, but it wasn't like something that ended in like porn or anything crazy like that. Sorry to disappoint. I just remember the gazebo. Oh, and I remember that in the end, I got to keep the gazebo because they had built the gazebo on like my side of the property line. And I was like, fuck, free gazebo. Yes.
This is what Twitter beef does to people. It gives you gazebo dreams.
I know. I did have a gazebo dream.
You had a porn-free gazebo dream, which I never thought I would ever hear that in my life.
Mm-hmm. Porn-free gazebos. Who would have thunk there was such a thing?
Well, all right. We're rolling over about an hour and a half now. So
sorry.
No, it's all right. I can talk forever. I do have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you need to sleep.
I do have to
seriously.
Sleep.
Yeah.
So.
Tommy, it was so nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I would love to meet B sometime really soon.
She came in the room twice, and I was like, "Do you want to say hi?" She was like, "No."
Well, maybe we could just talk. Like, if she's shy, then we'll just talk like when we're not recording.
We'll have you on her podcast whenever she's nice and liquored up. It's just she has to work tomorrow, so
we love it when people are drunk. Woo! Get on my level.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.
All right, thanks, Tommy.
So much of the focus of my podcast is to point out abuses of power and how bad things have gotten and the direction in which we're heading as a society. And it can be a real black pill. I've partnered up with Richard Grove to offer my listeners an opportunity to sign up to his Autonomy Course. The Autonomy Course is designed for people looking for solutions, people that want to shape their own future, people that are not willing to be at the behest of large corporations or the United States government or the banking system. The Autonomy Course is designed for those of you who wish to have complete control of the reins of your life, who are looking to be successful, to thrive and not just survive, to provide for your family by utilizing your existing skills and learning how to market and sell those skills in order to be your own boss, or learn new skills in order to leverage that into a new career opportunity. So if there's a job out there you've been trying to get or you've been wishing you could get, but you just don't have the skills for it, the Autonomy Course is the place for you to start, to learn how to land that position, to learn how to market yourself better, to gain confidence, and to be surrounded by a community of like-minded people that will encourage you and help you along the way. So use my affiliate links and go check out the Autonomy Course. It could be right for you.
Play this game of pick and choose. Well, it's a game that was made for you to lose. It doesn't really matter how many times, it's the same old worn out stories, same old lines. They're all pointing dirty fingers in hypocrisy, bragging on their feats of mediocrity again. Never really making any kind of change, but they keep on getting re-elected, and I find that strange. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants out of taking our freedoms. Yeah, I said fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants out of taking our freedoms. What's it gonna take for you to see that we're living in a rigged democracy? People stand in line for the things that they've been choosing, paying no attention to the rights they keep on losing. But they all gather in the rallies and they chant their names, on goddamn well that it's all gonna be the same. Just 4 more years of war and taxes, 4 more years of them grinding down their axes. And that's why I say fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that have taken our freedoms. Yeah, fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them. I never celebrate the tyrants that have taken our freedoms. Cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that have taken our freedom. Fuck them, don't feed them, cause we don't even need them, we'll never celebrate the tyrants that have taken